3.5 centuries had passed since the death of Pharaoh. Egypt had entered the New Kingdom, an era of great conquests and powerful pharaohs. Thutmose II ruled, but he was weak and sick. When he died, he left the throne to his son from a concubine, Thutmose III. The boy was only a few years old, too young to rule. A regent was needed. The regent became Hatshepsut, the great royal wife of Thutmose II. She was not a stranger to power. Her father was the great Pharaoh Thutmose I, her mother Queen Ahmose. Royal blood flowed in her veins. She had been raised at court, knew the rituals, knew how to govern. At first, she ruled in the name of her stepson, but the throne tempted her. After a few years, around the 7th year of her regency, Hatshepsut did what no woman before her had dared. She proclaimed herself Pharaoh. This was not just a change of title, it was a coup. A woman seized power that tradition reserved for men. Her stepson was pushed into the shadows. She would rule alone. But how could she convince her subjects that a woman could be Pharaoh? The priests devised a legend. On temple walls, they carved a story. The god Amun took the form of Thutmose I, entered Queen Ahmose, and she gave birth to a daughter. But the god declared, "This child shall be king." According to official history, Hatshepsut was a pharaoh before she was even born. Hatshepsut took a new throne name, Maatkare, meaning, "Truth is the soul of Ra." On all her statues and reliefs, she ordered herself depicted with a false beard, male clothing, and a bare chest. She was a pharaoh. She was a king. Her gender no longer mattered, only power. In the Karnak temple, a statue of Hatshepsut stands. The stone depicts a woman with a man's body. Below it, a cartouche that someone tried to erase, but it can still be read. A question hangs in the air. What drives a person to renounce their own nature in order to become a king? Hatshepsut was not a warrior. She did not wage wars of conquest like her ancestors. Instead of the sword, she chose construction and trade. And this brought Egypt unprecedented prosperity. Her reign became an era of peace, wealth, and grand projects. Her most famous undertaking was the sea expedition to the land of Punt. Where is Punt? Scholars still debate, perhaps Eritrea, Somalia, or the Arabian Peninsula. But the fact remains, 5 ships sailed into the unknown and returned with treasures. The ships brought back gold, frankincense, myrrh, ebony, ivory, panther skins, and live monkeys. But most importantly, they brought back myrrh trees in tubs. For the first time in Egyptian history, trees were planted in the temple garden. It was a symbol of power over nature, over foreign lands. Hatshepsut built like no one before her. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari is one of the most elegant and harmonious structures of ancient Egypt. 3 terraces, white limestone columns, sanctuaries carved into the rock. Architecture that still leaves visitors speechless. She erected obelisks at the Karnak temple, the tallest in Egyptian history. One of them still stands today. On its peak, the name of Hatshepsut gleams in gold. She restored temples destroyed by conquerors. She gave back to the gods what had been taken from them. Before the temple of Hatshepsut at Deir el-Bahari, the sun floods the white columns. Shadows grow longer. A visitor climbs the terraces where the queen herself once stood. The question remains, why was the woman who brought peace and wealth almost erased from history? Thutmose III grew up. He became a great military commander, the Napoleon of ancient Egypt. He led 17 military campaigns, expanding the empire to limits it had never known before or after. But during Hatshepsut's lifetime, he was pushed into the shadows. He waited. For 22 years, he waited. When Hatshepsut died, Thutmose III finally became the sole ruler. And then began the destruction of the memory of the woman who had dared to take his throne. Across Egypt, workers chiseled her name out of cartouches, smashed her statues, erased her reliefs. Her face disappeared from the stones. But why? Was it personal revenge? Perhaps, but there is another version. Thutmose III had to restore the order of Ma'at, cosmic justice, which demanded that a man sit on the throne. A female pharaoh insulted the gods. By erasing her name, he was restoring balance to the world. Thousands of statues of Hatshepsut were toppled and shattered. Her obelisks were walled up. Her images were recarved to look like Thutmose III. Her name vanished from all lists of pharaohs. It seemed as if she had never existed. But stones hold more than they seem. In 1822, while deciphering hieroglyphs, archaeologists stumbled upon strange gaps. Names had been erased, but the outlines remained. That was how the world learned of a pharaoh who had been nearly forgotten. Her tomb has not been found. Her mummy may lie in an unknown grave, but her name has returned. In the desert, at the foot of a cliff where a statue of Hatshepsut was once thrown down, the wind sweeps the sand. A shattered face of the queen lies nearby. The question remains, can memory be killed if it is carved in stone? 3 women, 3 fates. Meretnith, a shadow buried among kings, whose reign we can only guess at. Pharaoh, the first undisputed female pharaoh, whose crown lasted only 4 years. Hatshepsut, the most successful, ruling for 22 years, whose name was nearly erased. What unites them? What unites them is struggle. The struggle for power in a world where only men were supposed to rule. They did not ask for permission. They took the crown. Some were remembered. Others were erased. But all of them left traces that cannot be destroyed. Today, Hatshepsut is one of the most recognizable figures of ancient Egypt. Her temple is visited by millions of tourists. Her statues stand in the world's greatest museums. The one who tried to forget her has become a shadow himself. She became a symbol. In the Cairo Museum, light falls on the face of a statue. A woman's face, but with a royal beard. The hall is silent. Only the sound of breathing. Someone stands before her, looking for a long time. The question hangs in the air. The question these women leave us is this: what is stronger, power won by force, or a legacy built against all odds? Meretnith, Pharaoh, Hatshepsut. One, a mystery. Another, a moment. The third, greatness. But all of them proved the crown does not ask for permission. They ruled when women were not supposed to rule. They took power when power was forbidden. And the stones remember their names. Would you have dared? Subscribe for more dark history.